Yeah.
Right. We were talking earlier that a lot of people have different ideas about what is
Yes.
conscious. So we're being very specific that we say conscious is to be here now, meaning to bring all of your attention here now. And that would mean paying attention to my thoughts, my emotions, my body, my sensations, what's happening over there, what's happening around us, to be here now. And then to be here now in a non-triggered, non-reactive state, meaning I'm not perceiving a problem with a capital P or a threat, so that I'm in an open state. And in that open state, I can really be available to see reality honestly. So that's conscious for us, to be here now in a non-triggered, non-reactive state. And then we say leadership is anyone who wants to take responsibility for their influence in the world. So I want to take responsibility for my influence in the world, both at home and at work, and as I move around through my community. How am I in my actions influencing those around me? That's what we're defining as leadership. So the idea is that when I am below the line, life is happening to me. And what that means is I will decide that my well-being or my suffering is happening because of conditions out there. Those conditions make me feel a certain way. So for example, I might say, oh, that person hurt my feelings. My hurt is caused by what they said. That's a to me consciousness. I can also say, oh, my life is so wonderful. And people say, oh, you're happy. Can you tell us more about your happiness? Well, it's because I got a raise and my children got into the good colleges and I got this car, and there's the conditions are causing my happiness. So we want to say people can be below the line and look happy as much, but there's this anxiety underneath that happiness, because if those conditions change, I won't be happy anymore. So to me is the conditions are the things that cause my experience. When we shift over to by me, we recognize I'm the cause of my experience. So I just was speaking to a friend last night and I said, I want to let you know I hurt myself when you said these certain things. Your words did not cause me hurt, but I hurt myself. And I made up a story that you should think something different of me. And so in that, I take responsibility that I am the source of my experience inside. Now that's a radical concept for many of us, because most of us have been taught, hey, you can hurt people, you can do things to upset people. And conscious leadership group says, there's no one who's ever hurt you in your life. And that's a radical concept. You will hurt yourself. And we recognize for many egos and identities, they will want to argue with that, and we understand. In life is happening by me, there's still a big me with a capital M. It's still me. I have an agenda, and we think that's great. We think that's important for people to have that. But the shift to through me is, I'm now surrendering my identity's agenda. And I'm starting to ask this bigger question: what is life? How does life want to express itself in and through me? So I'm now in collaboration with something greater than myself, and I'm now in a stage of listening. And through me is really about listening. What wants to happen? And I'm in that collaborative dance. And then as me, you just can't even experience as me. If you want to talk about it, you'll lose it. As me is the experience of oneness itself. And it is not an intellectual experience, it is a direct experience. And people might have had that being in nature, or holding a baby, or being in the temple or their church, or particularly, all kinds of things, having a psychedelic trip. There's all different kinds of ways that people can have that direct experience. And so one of the things that we like to do is say, hey, you and your team are setting goals. Most teams set goals from to me. You can also set goals from by me, and you can set goals from through me.
I have a few questions which are specific also for our community. So one of the I mean, there's so many female women communities out there. And one of the things that I believe differentiates us is that we're taking responsibilities for our own transformation. So as change makers, we're saying we need to change if we want to have a different life, different organization. So we are not fighting against somebody. We're not victims of anything. Nobody is at fault. We accept the history the way it is. We just want to support each other in the work we need to do so that we can create the beautiful workplaces we want to have. And my question to you is, what are your thoughts? How can we best support each other in this growth and transformation?
First of all, I feel teary-eyed, just moved by what you all are standing for. And I find it rare for people to really be willing to take responsibility and not be victims and recognize the change has to happen here first. So I'm just so grateful for all of you being part of this community. And
Thank you
and
very much.
I found my people.
Thank you, Diana.
Yeah. One of the things that I think is so important is to pay attention to aversions. So an aversion is anything that I see out there that I feel like I want to get a little away from. I'm not like that. That's not me. And any place where I want to close or constrict. And to take a look at that aversion is an invitation to wake up in consciousness to something that is either unowned, meaning I don't see that part in myself, or I do see it, but I don't love and accept it. So for example, many people, many leaders I work with have aversions to Donald Trump. So I say, what is your judgment? He's a narcissist. Great, can you find the narcissist in you? You have your own narcissist that has in its own ways similar patterns. So most people go, no, I am not a narcissist like that. And I can start to point, what about this? What about this? Wow. Oh, wow. I do feel that. Okay, that's true about me. And then can you truly accept your inner narcissist? So that then you don't have to have an aversion. You can say, I see the narcissist out there. It's the same in here. I can accept it out there because I can accept it in here. It doesn't mean I don't want to change it. It doesn't mean I don't want to influence it in new ways, but I can't influence it if I have an aversion to it. And so I think that's one of the deepest pieces of work we can do. And if you came to one of our trainings, one of the things we do a lot with working with personas. So what are these parts? And we would say, what's something that bugs you the most about people out there? And, you know, for a lot of leaders, it's things like lazy people, irresponsible people, rude people, things that they have decided they're not. And so, because they're big doers. And so we say, great, you're going to come out to dinner, and we have this huge elaborate costume collection, and they all get dressed up in these costumes and come and act out this part that they have disowned. So it's really fun to see a lot of CEOs all be lazy around a table at dinner, and no one's ordering and no one's doing anything, or they're rude, because that's another thing. They're all supposed to be so rude and obnoxious. And I've been on the verge of being kicked out of restaurants many times with all these rude, obnoxious CEOs who are playing out these unowned parts. But they find such transformation in really being able to see there is nothing out there that doesn't live in here. And so I think that's a great gift we can give to ourselves, and also to give to each other when we hear each other speaking about aversions.
And as far as our community, I have one more question to you. We have this, I think I mentioned at the beginning, in our purpose, building the more beautiful workplaces we all long for. And my question to you is, how does a beautiful workplace look like for you?
I'm working now in several of them, facilitating. It looks like leadership starts first, and they really practice and they role model it to others, so that the others go, we want that. What have you been doing? We want to have that from you. They get asked to be trained. So it's not being forced on anybody. They are liking what they see, and it trickles down, and people are telling the truth. People are taking responsibility. People are staying curious. People have really clear agreements, and everybody is co-committed and has clear agreements about how they're going to practice. We say all drama is because people aren't co-committed. And what that would look like is the leadership says, hey, fellow leaders here in our organization, I'd like to commit to revealing versus concealing. And what that would mean would be any thought I've had 3 or more times, I'm going to speak it out loud so you know me. It's because I want to stay in connection, because I know if I withhold myself, I'm going to go away. I want to know, would you guys commit to doing that with me? Can we be all co-committed? And check and see, is that something you really choose to make a way of life? And then great, now what are the clear agreements about how we'll give each other, how we'll share feedback and thoughts and things like that? Let's create agreements that feel friendly to all of us. So now we've got that clarified, and now we go practice. So if that's not done, that really thoughtful co-commitment and clear agreements, it will create a lot of rifts in the organization. It's like playing different games. You know, I'm going to play basketball. Well, I want to play baseball. Well, they don't go together. And so we have to make sure we're all playing the same games. But it's beautiful. I mean, people feel connected. Reliably, what people will say is, I have more energy. I don't go home burn out. I feel connected, reliably connected to the people around me, and I feel much more creative in my thinking. And we tend to be able to get more done with less time. And so, and we tend to innovate more quickly than our competitors. So those are some of the big payoffs that I see, and just a lot of trust and fun, you know, and real engagement, deep engagement.
So thank you for this opportunity.
You are so welcome. I'm so glad I said yes, Natalia, and I just am looking forward to an ongoing relationship with you and all of you. I found some of my people, so I'm looking forward to more.
Thank you for that. That means a lot to me. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I'm sure to everybody.